Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Garden of Sports. I'm your host, Jake Gardner, alongside my brother, Zach Gardner.
What's up, everybody?
Today, we're going to go over a quick Week 7 recap with surprises of the week, injury news, breakout players, and then we'll break into Week 8 prep, going over your trade candidates for buy low, sell high, as well as key grabs and watch list players. So we'll just jump right into it. So surprises of the week for me, Jared Allen, 49.5 average in the last 7. So last week he was a buy low candidate because he was kind of slow back from injury. But now the team's gotten hot again, and it's kind of because of the running around Jared Allen, basically. Like when he's doing good, the whole team's doing good. Plus Evan Mobley's back, so it's just a good young team. But yeah, he's going crazy, 49-point average in the last 7. And his average is now up to 38, or right around 38, so he's getting up to that 40 we were talking about earlier in the season. Jayshawn Tate, biggest game of the week, 72.5 fantasy points.
Wow.
To carry Houston to a win on December 1st. And he's a key pickup. We've been talking about him for a month or so now. Is a deep league guy, just someone to grab because he's the starting small forward on a young team in the Rockets. And then he had a good follow-up game after that, so I think his confidence is sky high now. And like we said, he is the starting small forward, so he's just going to get all those minutes and those touches, and he's starting to really prove himself. So then Scotty Barnes, not that he's like a huge surprise, but 41.7 average in the last 7. And I thought he could potentially slow down with Siakam coming back and kind of increasing his minutes, but they're kind of playing really well together just as a team. So I think that's just going to keep going. And yeah, I mean, it's just like if you got him late, you're probably a winning team right now. Derrick White coming back from, I guess, a slow start. He just really didn't perform yet up to kind of his draft standard and what we've seen him do in the past, and now he's kind of heating up, 38.4 average in the last 7. So that's nice to see. And then Cole Anthony's back from his injury, and he's just already back to what he was doing to start the season. So we'll kind of talk about him more here in the storylines, but he might be here to stay, especially with Jalen Suggs getting hurt. Franz Wagner, 37.4 average in the last 7. Maybe is the best player on Orlando. Going forward, I mean, Cole Anthony's pretty good, but if they're going to win any games, it's going to be based on the ultra-talented Wagner, he's got to work harder for his shots. Like Cole Anthony's hitting threes, and then his assists, he's just throwing it to Wendell Carter or Mo Bamba. So I guess it's between these two for the best player on that team, but Wagner could take that over throughout the year. He just looks really good. And I don't know if he has a chance at Rookie of the Year, but I mean, Scotty Barnes and Mobley and Cade Cunningham, he's going to fight that for, but he's definitely the 4th best, I think, at this point, or 5th. I know we also like Josh Giddey, but a lot of good rookies this year. Christian Wood is back to form. We were talking about him as a buy low before, but now he's 37 average in the last 7, and he's starting to go off again. He was really struggling there for like a week or two, which is worrisome. You were thinking maybe he was playing injured, but I guess it was just the team was just doing bad, so now the team 5-game win streak. I don't know if they keep it up tonight necessarily because they have a lot of guys out, but that'll kind of ride on Christian Wood, and he looks great. So top storylines. Is Cole Anthony for real, Zach? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think he could be.
Okay. He's just kind of going off again. I don't know. And Jalen Suggs is hurt, and Jalen Suggs is going to be. They're going to evaluate him every week, so it just sounds like it's a long term. Sounds like Jalen Suggs could be out a month or more. So Cole Anthony's going to just keep going hot.
Fultz isn't coming back anytime soon, so he's going to be getting a lot of minutes still.
Yeah, he's getting these 35-minute nights or plus that, and
he's a good passer, so he's going to fill up the stat sheets. So, I mean, it's not like he
Fultz
doesn't get
probably won't
peripherals.
take the starting position, honestly. coming
right
back from
away. Yeah.
coming back from ACL, and with Cole Anthony doing this good, they're just going to keep it Cole Anthony, and they definitely think Suggs is their future. They don't. I think they gave Fultz a chance, and I'm not saying it's because of injury that they're done with him, but he had a pretty good year. But
Yeah.
I just don't think they're gonna go with the younger Suggs to be the
Yeah.
next guy up. But yeah, he might be for real, and in
At least this
fantasy,
year.
just a steal.
Just keep starting him.
Yeah, I think it's just like 1 year thing. So like his best year, maybe it's this. I think this is gonna be his career year. So
Yeah, I totally agree.
but if you still have doubts about the second half, I would still sell high, like within the next month, because second half could just be Suggs. Like they just after the All-Star break, they could just switch gears and be like, all right, we're playing our young guys. So something to keep in mind because they are quite possibly the worst team in basketball. Are the Bulls a top 3 seed rest of the season? Are they going to finish a top 3 seed? Right now they're the number 2.
Yeah, so
we just beat the Nets twice.
Yeah, and that's the season series with the Nets, right? They don't play them anymore.
We won the series. Yep. We played them one more time, but we took 2 games. So
yeah, they took 2 of the 3 games. So
yeah,
I think they definitely could, man. I think that they're better than the Wizards. And
the Heat just lost Adebayo.
The Heat just lost Adebayo, and that's kind of big because he was a bad matchup for the Bulls with his size. So I definitely think the Bulls could be a top 3 seed, and if they make a trade for a power forward, I definitely think they could be a top 3 seed. And if all the guys stay healthy, but I think there's some things that depends on. But I think if everything goes right for them, I think they could be a 2 or 3. Maybe I think they could be a 3 seed.
Yeah, originally I had them pegged as they're gonna have to fight for the 4 seed. I definitely thought the Knicks would be better. I thought the Hawks would be better up to this point, and yeah, I thought the Heat would be number 3. I didn't imagine the Wizards here right at 4. I think they'll fall off. But yeah, it doesn't seem like that hard of we're better than the Nets, obviously, so far. They're the 1 seed, we're the 2. We have the same amount of wins. The Bucks could pass us for the 2. That's why I think we could be number 3. I just don't think we're going to outpace the Bucks. I mean, I foresee some kind of injury hitting one of our key players, and at some point in the season, I'm not saying like some horrible injury, I'm just saying like Lonzo. If Lonzo went out, that could really mess up chemistry and everything with him bringing the ball down and playing lockdown defense.
Right. They definitely need their guys to be healthy for sure.
Yeah, to keep the 2 or 3, I think we need everybody to stay healthy most of the season. But the 4 seed is definitely doable. I just don't know about 3 now.
Yeah.
And the Heat without Adebayo is huge, so we'll talk about that more later. But yeah, the Grizzlies, even without John Morant, they've won 4 in a row. Are they a top 4 seed in the West?
This one, I don't know. It depends on when Morant comes back, because I feel like they're gonna need him and everything he can do. But yeah, I think they could. And
they could fall off a cliff, but
that would be more of a surprise to me than the Bulls being a top 3 seed, I think.
Yeah, this one's interesting because the top 3 in the West are for sure, I think, rest of the season the top 3. Like, they've proven they can go on all these hot streaks. The Warriors, the Suns, and the Jazz, and just stay that way. Then they all have really good defenses as well. And then after that, all these teams are like near or around 500, 4 through 10. I mean, it's gonna be really competitive, and the Grizzlies, they might have a chance because they're a younger team with just a lot of good young talent. And I don't know, if they're winning 4 games in a row without Ja Morant and all these other teams are struggling throughout the season, I don't know, man. The Clippers are struggling, the Mavericks are struggling, Nuggets, Lakers obviously they're rough to watch right now.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I think they could because the backup point guards are stepping up. D'Anthony Melton and Tyus Jones are just playing really good ball in his stead. So
okay.
I don't know, man. I don't know about 4. Maybe I think they'll stay in the playoffs though if the team has proven they can play without Ja Morant.
Yeah, and then that would just be crazy to me. Like this is definitely a strange year so far for basketball. It seems like this could be this could be one of those years where it's like one of those finals where you look back and you're like, oh, really? That was the finals that year. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it could easily be the Bucks again against Phoenix again. I don't know. That could happen.
That could, yeah, for sure.
But
interesting.
Yeah, the Bucks are 9-1 the last 10. Like they just got all their players back finally.
Yeah, and Giannis is dropping 40 pieces like it's, like another day at the office.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a crazy year though. A lot of teams that I'm sure everybody's rankings or pre-rankings preseason on the year of the seeding is totally messed up. It's just way off.
Yeah.
But anyway, injury news for fantasy. A lot happened this week. Giannis Antetokounmpo calf missed Saturday's game, and he's day-to-day. So I think they're just kind of resting him because he's been carrying the team for a long time now. With especially when their other stars were out, he had to do a lot. And they were missing a lot of role players as well.
And is that the same leg that he had that injury scare in the playoffs with too? Maybe it could be something resulting from that.
I don't know if it was. I'd have to look that up, but I don't think so. I mean,
okay, just wondering.
Yeah, different area, and he's probably fine. He's a monster. Luka Doncic ankle missed Saturday. Just unrelated, kind of related to injuries, but he's just been disappointing this year. Everybody thought this could be his next breakout, taking the next step, and so far he's been kind of disappointing.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he's just one of those guys where he just is what he is. He surprised everybody how good he was his rookie year, but maybe that's just who he is. Maybe he's not everybody always has to get better. Maybe that's just how he is as a player.
He was better after his rookie year. He was better following up. So I thought he was going to keep going to become like a top 5 player, but
gotcha.
He hasn't reached that yet, and he might not this year. Trae Young, quadriceps, questionable for Sunday. And then we really get into some star player losses here that happened throughout the week. Damian Lillard, abdomen. Announced on Wednesday they will miss at least 10 days due to lower abdominal tendinopathy. And we talked about this even pre-draft for fantasy. Like, he chose not to get surgery in the offseason. He wanted to play through it. So this is something he's going to be dealing with the rest of the season as well. And it's also, people are theorizing it's affecting his game, just like his stats are down and he doesn't look as dominant.
Yeah.
So something to keep an eye on.
And then just real quick, you can add CJ McCollum to that too, since we're on, the Blazers. He had a rib injury the other night, but it's not a serious thing. But
yeah, I thought he was day to day.
Yeah, he's day to day, but
okay. Yeah, something to watch.
Yeah.
LaMelo Ball and Terry Rozier have COVID for the Hornets, so they have a little outbreak over there. But they're listing LaMelo as day to day, so I think he probably is vaccinated, and if he gets 2 negative tests, they're just going to bring him back. So it must not be too severe for him. And then Terry Rozier, I'm not sure on his status. But it's usually with the COVID guys so far this year in basketball, if it's affecting them, the disease is actually affecting them decently, they'll just say, 10 days for sure,
Yeah.
Or LaMelo, they're not saying that, so
okay.
We'll see what happens. That could happen, but that'd be nice if he comes back sooner than later. Jimmy Butler, tailbone. He's missed last 4 games. He's questionable for Monday, so that's a hurt there. But the Heat have still been pulling out some wins, led by Lowry.
They have
Devin Booker,
a very deep team. I just wanted to add that.
No, they definitely do. Devin Booker, hamstring, will remain out Monday. He left in the second half of the first Golden State matchup. The team still won. And then he missed the next game, and then he missed the game that they broke their streak against Golden State. So he's missed a couple games. And he remains out Monday, so that's just them already ruling him out from Monday. makes me think he could miss, a decent chunk of next week. So something to keep in mind if you're like a weekly lineup, you might not want to put him in. Ja Morant, no timetable for return. So originally it was said like 4 to 6 weeks, I think, or even 2 to 4 weeks, but now it just says no timetable. So we'll just have to keep looking for updates on that, but that's not a good sign. I think it was, obviously from that, it must have been a severe sprain.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Yeah, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander concussion, took part in a non-contact practice on Sunday, so another guy to keep an eye on. It was nice to see. He came back from a different injury for 3 games, and he was just going off, and then, of course, a concussion happens, so they definitely need him after they had the biggest loss of any team in NBA history when he wasn't on the floor. Him and their rookie, Josh Giddey, weren't playing that day, and did you hear about this, Zach?
No, I didn't.
And the Grizzlies beat them by 72 points.
Oh, I did hear about that. Yeah, that was...
Okay, which is an NBA record.
Yeah, that was insane.
So they definitely need their 2 best players back. Those are definitely their two guys. The rest of the team's really rough. So looks like the OKC Thunder are going to have to start using all those picks for trades sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
Like they wanted to test out all these guys, but obviously they have less talent than they thought. Like a lot of these other young players are not that good. So they're going to have to actually make some trades and do something with those picks. Jaylen Brown, injury maintenance, missed past 2 games. So it's a little bit scary seeing him come back from injury beginning of last week, and then he already has injury maintenance and like his minutes are down. It's just like he's trying to play through it and it's just not working out. So something to keep an eye on. You could even add him to like a buy low if you think he'll bounce back fine. I didn't put him on my list, but somebody to keep an eye on. Tobias Harris, illness, non-COVID related, missed last game and is questionable for Monday. So we'll see we'll just have to wait for an update on that one. Zion Williamson, foot. Slight delay in his rehab. He was scrimmaging.
Yeah.
But he had soreness in the same foot, so they're kind of delaying him playing more.
Yep, yeah. That was not great news. I have him in one league.
I honestly think it's just precautionary. They said it's like a minor setback.
Yeah, but it's not great. Like a day after he starts scrimmaging, he has a setback. So it's just like, they're gonna be really overly cautious until he starts scrimmaging again.
That'll delay him at least a week, I bet.
Yeah.
Bam Adebayo, this is probably the biggest news. Torn UCL in his right thumb during Monday's loss, and there's no timetable for a return. He had a surgery, and that really hurts. I'm sure it could be a month and a half or 2 months before he's back.
Bam, there went his UCL.
Yeah, so it really sucks for any Bam owners because he was a high draft pick, and you're going to have to definitely look at our key grabs here you can replace with him. Porzingis knee missed last 2 games, so classic Porzingis. No surprise here. He'll just miss some games during the year. That's all it is. Al Horford back, lower back injury and missed 1 game so far. So definitely something to keep an eye on considering he's 36. Okay. Jalen Green for the Houston Rockets hamstring will be evaluated week to week. So it's definitely severe. I think they said it was grade 2, but they're definitely concerned. And but the Rockets have been playing better without him. That's when they went on when he went down, that's when they went on their 5-game win streak here, which could be 6 tonight. Injury, but he can't, so they might keep him out a couple games. Alex Caruso, hamstring, he aggravated the injury again against the Nets, so he had to leave that game. That's another one to keep an eye on because hamstrings are definitely scary injuries for especially any fantasy owner, because that can mean weeks. especially if they're trying to play through it, they can make it even worse. So, and then Josh Giddey flu, has missed the past 2 games, and yeah, they did say it was positive for the flu. So, and he practiced for the second straight day Sunday, so we'll see if he's back soon. But yeah, that's injury updates. A lot happened, so
yeah,
long-winded, but hopefully that helps you on your team and anybody you're trying to trade or pick up, whatever. So let's break into trade targets. Buy lows. Isaiah Stewart. He had a bad start to the season. I mean, we all know the fiasco with LeBron as well. But the past 2 games, he's looked like the guy we thought he could be pre-draft. Just like the second best player in the team. I thought it would be like him and Cade Cunningham are the 1-2 punch. And, I mean, I like their small forward too, but I just think Isaiah Stewart's a talent. And he's their main big man, and this could be him finally breaking out. I mean, he should be a double-double machine. Like, that young and that talented, right, and on a young team that needs guys to play minutes. So, and I think it's a guy you can get cheap because it's only a 2-game sample size. Nobody can oversell that to you. Mm-hmm. And you could try to just trade a guy who is overperforming. I would offer, like, who's going off right now? That not Bobby Portis, Kelly Oubre. He's been going off for about a week and a half now. He's on one of his hot streaks.
Yeah.
I would offer him straight up for Isaiah Stewart. That would be a steal.
Okay.
Because Kelly Oubre will slow down. Like, there's too much talent ahead of him for him to keep it going. I mean, he's a great bench player, but that's it. So try to get Isaiah Stewart. That might be the biggest buy low for me. Let me keep going through the list, but he's a huge buy low. Damien Lillard. With the abdomen, people could be worried. What?
Okay. Well, I'm surprised to see him on buy low.
Just because his numbers are down and he's playing through that abdomen injury. And so if people are sour on him, just, test the waters. Don't overbuy him, because I'd be concerned with the injury as well. But see if you can get him if somebody's just worried about it. And especially if if they need wins now, maybe they only have 1 win in your fantasy league. And they don't want to hold Lillard 10 days or more,
Okay.
See if we can get something. Bradley Beal, I hate to say it, but he's underperforming so far this season. For points leagues, 37.4 average. And that's just pretty low for him. He's capable of 45 or higher. I mean, we're talking about a number 1 draft pick here. So 37.4 is not good for a number 1 draft pick. So he's a definite buy low. See if you can get him in any league. He should be way better than this. He's the best player on that team. So, I think it's growing pains because it's a bunch of new players around him. It's like a whole new team. Seriously, like a whole new team.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, both centers are new. Montrezl Harrell and Gafford. Kyle Kuzma's new. Spencer Dinwiddie's new. So it's just all these guys are learning to play together, and they're playing well. So I think he also doesn't want to, if they're winning, he's not going to totally just play his takeover game, shooting the ball. But eventually they're just going to need him to do that to keep getting wins. So anyway, he'll be better than this. Try to trade for him. Karis LeVert, we talked about last week as a buy low. Still a buy low. He had a really good game last game, but it's just a 1-game sample size. So try to get him, man. I mean, and it's a struggling team, so they need him to step it up. Like, they have good players that are doing good for fantasy in Sabonis and Brogdon, but I think they need their third guy to get some wins, because the team's struggling to get wins right now.
He did finally look like he had a breakout game with 27 points, so maybe he's starting to turn it around. This is definitely your chance to try and get him. If he puts up a whole week of these numbers, it's going to be harder to get him, so...
Yeah, and then Rashawn Holmes, up and down lately in his games for fantasy, and I mean just in general. But he's at a 30 average. I think he could be a 35 plus center, and he's just, if you ever watch, it's hard to watch Sacramento games, so I don't blame anyone. But if you ever get to watch him, you see how athletic and hardworking this guy is in the court, and he could definitely be better than what he's doing right now. Bam Adebayo, put him on buy low, because even before the injury, he was like, his numbers were really bad. He was definitely below par. I think in categories, he was like the 200th plus ranked player, and he wasn't even top 50 in points leagues. So he was already struggling before that, and then now with the injury where he could be out over a month, if you're like a high-seeded team, this is a great guy to stash for your playoff run. Because he will be back. Like, they didn't say he's out for the season. It's a thumb, right? So
right. That's at least, that's about it. They didn't give a timetable, but normally it's like 6 weeks. So
yeah, I would try to trade for him right now. Say, like, he was struggling anyway before the injury, and, like, somebody might not want to hold him. That'd be perfect for you if you're a top 3 to 4 seed. That'd be, like, if this guy comes back and he comes back, like, playing well, it's that might be an easy run for the championship.
I agree.
Spencer Dinwiddie, he's really struggled so far this season, 22.5 in the last 7 days. And we've seen him on the Nets previously whenever Kyrie would be out, he would just go off, and he hasn't reached that form yet because he is coming off an injury, like I think it was an ACL. Don't quote me. I can't.
It was some kind of leg injury for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's he's played this whole season or most of it, and I just don't think he's fully back mentally and physically. So eventually he will be, though, and we know how good of a point guard he is. And he's got great guys to pass to. I mean, like we said, the Wizards are playing really well.
Yeah.
So he can be better than this.
And he is a facilitator, so if he starts getting that confidence going, he could easily be putting up, solid numbers across the board.
Yeah, and I think if he starts doing better, Bradley Beal will also start doing better.
Yeah, I agree.
They'll play well off each other. So he could definitely be in a points league, it could be a 30-plus average guy. So right now he's struggling, but could be a great steal for the future. And I put Shai Gilgeous-Alexander on here because before the last 3 games where he was back, and then he had this concussion, he was kind of struggling, and his average was lower than this, but now it's at 36.5 because he had 3 good games. But he's 40 upside, 40 plus, I think, because he's the best player on that team by far. And before that his shot wasn't looking good. So I think it could be a lot better. I mean, if he improves the shot, he's definitely going to rise above 40 average. So
yeah, this is a good one here. I've always liked this player, and there's a good chance to trade for him right now. I would be all over that.
Yeah. So he has like a 36.5 average. So you would have to offer.
It'll be a good offer.
Decent player. Yeah,
I still think that he's going to be over that though. So
for sure. So like I haven't offered this yet, but I've thought about offering Tobias Harris, who's like a 37 average, but I think that's Tobias's ceiling. Like he's already there. Whereas Shai Gilgeous could be up, like we said, 40 up. Because Tobias isn't the best player on his team, and like he's proven what he can do throughout the years. Like he's been in the league a long, decent amount of time now. So I don't know. I've thought about offering that one. That would be the highest I would go. But yeah, otherwise try a 2-for-1. Just try something. Maybe they need depth.
Yeah.
Nikola Vukovic, 38 average. Last year he was a top 20 player. I don't know if he can ever do that again because he's on a way more talented team now.
And he is the third option.
Yeah, he's the third option with DeMar kind of breaking out. We thought he would be the number 2 to Levine, but he's really the third. And also, it's not even just that. His shot has been really bad. He's been really struggling.
He's starting, though, this week. He's started to get it a little better. But, yeah, I could definitely see why you put him on buy low because he's going to turn that around.
Well, like he was I think he was like a 47 average last year. I'm not saying he could reach that again, but he could get up to like 44, 43.
Yeah, like I'm thinking he's going to end up being somewhere between what he's at now and where he was last year, like right in the middle, like a 42, something like that.
Yeah, so he should be a top 50 player right now. He's not even that. And like we said, last year he was top 20. So
right,
we know the talent's there. He's still in his prime. Like, I think this would be the hardest one to get besides Lillard, or Beal, maybe.
he is over 30, but he has that shot which extends the player's prime. So I'm not
He's
too
got a
worried
bunch of
about
moves.
I'm not too worried about age right at this point. So this is definitely would be a good buy low.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody might be willing to trade him. So
yeah, not in our 12-team league. I can't. The guy will not sell. But if you can
well,
get him in your league,
we're also in Chicago, so
that's true. But he's not even. He's a Rockets fan.
Oh,
but whatever.
Yeah.
Let's break into sell highs. Unless you had another buy low, Zach.
No, this is a very solid list you got here.
For sure. All right, sell high. Scotty Barnes. So I just talked him up like surprise of the week and obviously surprise of the season. I mean, people were still high on him. Like he was drafted in fantasy drafts and people thought he was a good player, but he's really overperforming everything we thought he would be. And rookies go through slumps, man. And I think he hasn't even hit one yet. And yeah, I just think you could get a lot of value from him right now coming off like maybe one of his best weeks of the season so far. Maybe you could use Scotty to get like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander or one of our buy lows.
Yeah. It's just crazy to see a rookie. You don't see this often, these days, a rookie getting 35 minutes a game, 38 minutes a game. It's crazy.
Yeah, well, the team is still struggling to win, too.
Yeah.
Even though they have a lot, I think it's just their defense then because they have a lot of offensive talent. Like, that talent is there. But, I don't know. They're still figuring it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would think about selling high. I mean, otherwise, just ride it. And when we say, like, sell high, it's not like must trade this player. Because then you could totally lose value and lose the trade.
Yeah. When we say sell high, and it's the same goes for when we do this in hockey and football as well. When we say sell high, it's like try and trade a player that you think is overperforming a little bit. Doesn't mean that he's not worth a hold. Still to be valuable to your team if you can't get a trade done. But try and trade for someone a little bit better, who you think is more consistent or something, who you think is more likely to keep putting up consistently like the good numbers. And if you can't get something like that done, just hold the player. You don't have to make a trade to make a trade.
Just try to get a more proven player.
Yeah.
Because like we said, the rookies can be up and down. It's a long season.
Right.
D'Angelo Russell, I put a question mark next to him because he was a sell high for me for the past couple weeks. But he's still going hot. He's got an injury history, which is why a big reason for me why he was a sell high. What do you think, though? Would you still sell high on this guy?
Yeah, I think I would, but I mean, it looks like the injury worries because he is day to day. So it doesn't.
Yeah,
look like
I think that
anything...
just popped up as I was writing this episode.
Yeah, it's not anything serious. It doesn't look like it's just ankle soreness. But I mean, this is you definitely want to be trying to sell high because he does have that injury history. And
it is his ankles a lot of the time. He tweaks. I don't know why his ankles are just like loose or something, but he's always hurting that or like straining his knee. It's always a leg thing. But yeah, I would still sell high. Plus, he was shooting lights out, which like nobody could shoot lights out all season besides Steph and Dame. I feel like so.
Right.
Especially, and he's a big 3-point guy, and he's never been known as a consistent one. So, anyway, still sell high. See if you can get anything. I mean, this is the perfect candidate to try to get Shy. I think because he's been going off. He's got a high average. He's also a well-known name.
Yeah, 1-for-1 Russell for Gilgeous. I mean, that would probably go through.
Yeah, you might have to throw a little extra spice in there, but I'll try to get it done. Cole Anthony, I put a question mark next to him because of he was a sell high for me for obviously a couple weeks, but Jalen Suggs is now out. They're checking him like bi-weekly or weekly. He's going to be out a bit, probably a month plus. So would you still sell high, Zach, or would you...
I mean, why not? Why not try and sell high? And I'd be fine if I couldn't get a trade done. I'd be fine holding him. But I mean, I'm gonna test the waters. I'm gonna dangle him out there this week. See if I get any bites.
Yeah, test the waters. It's a super high average at 37.8 in points leagues. I just think like that's appetizing for people, and Cole Anthony for Shy. I mean, that would be a steal, dude.
Yeah,
I don't know if you could get that one through, but
yeah, I would try it. I'm
try
gonna
it.
try it.
Why not, dude?
Yeah.
So sell high for me, a big one was Draymond Green. But now I'm starting to question it because he's just. I don't know if like the Warriors were just screwing around for the past 2 years until they got a couple of draft picks.
They might have been.
But now they look like they're back to form, and we all know that they're not that old. Like,
and I think they also do know that.
mm-hmm.
I mean, they they're at practice every day. They're with each other all the time. They know Klay Thompson's coming back and is going to be good, so that they're probably just.
Well, he's been playing 5-on-5.
Yeah, so they're probably just reinvigorated. That try and win another championship once Klay gets back. They'll be like back to being the unstoppable.
They won their first 3 pretty young, like late 20s, which is like early prime of your career. And then, so now I think they're still technically all in their prime, low 30s, their age. Yeah. And they could still do it. Like, they could still perform at a high level. They're proving that again. And their defense is like top-notch ranked. I don't think it was first. I got to double check that. But was the top defense and obviously a top offense. You got Steph goddamn Curry. So yeah, I don't know, man. Like he was a sell high for me back to fantasy, or is it just a renaissance season?
Very consistently 8, like 8, 8, 8. Almost averaging a triple double. That's
I just feel like he's overperforming, but
I feel like
looks good.
You should be able to sell him high, and you should be able to get something very good from how he's been playing. If you can't do that, then just keep him and keep winning your weeks.
Yeah, like if I could use Draymond to get like a Richaun Holmes maybe, but obviously Draymond gets more different stats than Richaun Holmes, so he gets a little bit more fantasy points for points leagues. I don't know if he matches up great with any of these buy lows. I mean, because he's not good enough to get Shy or Vukovic or Lillard, you know what I mean? But he's a little too good for me to go for Richaun or Spencer Dinwiddie or Isaiah Stewart.
So he's a hard one.
That's risky.
So maybe Draymond Green and somebody else for like Shea,
Yeah, do a 2-for-1. Guy. He's a great 2-for-1 guy and get him off because he does get injured because he plays hardball. I mean, if you ever watched him, he plays hard defense and he can get injured that way for sure. And he's older now, like we said, like they're all like 33 now, around that age. So anyway, still sell high, but don't just oversell or like lose value.
Yeah.
Bobby Portis, he's been a sell high for us for a while, and now he's still going off, man. He just had a 52-point fantasy night.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Giannis was out that game, but still, that's just like you could show that in a trade and be like, listen, he's here to stay. He's their sixth man, whatever.
Did the Bulls trade for Bobby Portis?
No, because the Bucks won't trade him. They love him.
Right. They definitely wouldn't trade him to someone in their division, and an enemy right now this season.
Yeah, we'll be fighting for them for seeding.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, I would still try to sell high. He is their sixth man. He's good. But it's just like he's going to go through some cold spells as well.
And he's starting now, too. So, he's going to go back to that sixth man role once Lopez comes back.
Well, and they signed DeMarcus Cousins, and he'll eventually pick it up.
Right. So this is definitely your chance to try and sell him while he's
Bobby Portis and Draymond Green for somebody. There you go. Get a star.
There you go.
Get Bradley Beal or something. That'd be hard. But get those two for Vukovic maybe would...
That could work. Yeah.
Yeah. Sell high, we've already kind of hinted at this, but Kelly Oubre, he's on a hot streak right now. He is a great bench player for the Hornets. And also now that those two guys have COVID, he's playing more. So he looks even better. I think he's another guy to throw in for a 2-for-1.
Yeah.
Or try to straight up, if you could trade Kelly Oubre for Karis LeVert, I mean, their averages are near each other.
And do this now because you may be just dropping him next week.
Exactly. He's just a hot streak guy.
Yeah.
Jordan Poole, we brought him up before, but Klay Thompson is practicing. And once he's back, I mean, Jordan Poole, his fantasy relevance is kind of done. He's like a 28 average right now.
It already is kind of fringe done.
Well, he's still serviceable because he's 28 average.
Yeah, because once a week he'll give you a 45. Mm-hmm. But
yeah, if he's hitting.
Yeah. So it's just not the most consistent guy. Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
This is his high point for sure. So
include him in a 2-for-1, another 2-for-1 guy.
Yeah.
Try to get him off your plate though, because otherwise he's just going to be a droppable player for you.
Yeah. Or this is more something we can get into later. But since we're talking about him now, if he's available on your waiver and you're in a deep league, he's a good streaming option. On like a Sunday if he's playing a game to get you some extra points.
Yeah, for sure. Montrezl Harrell, he's now split in with Gafford. Gafford's taking a little longer to take over than I thought he would, but Gafford's the starting center, and he plays a lot better defense than Montrez. And yeah, I mean, they're splitting minutes now, but Gafford's just, I think, the better all-around player. And Montrez is just that sixth man that he always has been, so his numbers could keep decreasing, like his average would go down from here. He was like near 35, now he's down to 32. I mean, try to get him off. Unless you just want to hold him, I mean, and he'll be around 30 average for the year, I think. But I try to get him off my plate, see if people still see the value in him. And
yeah, because it seems to me I haven't looked too much at him and Gafford so far this season. They've just been kind of off my radar. But it just seems to me that one has a good game. It seems to me they go back and forth every other game. One of them does good. They just kind of trade games.
Well, Gafford said, we put him on our top scoops last week.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he's just kept that going. And I think he's only had one bad game in the past 2 weeks. So,
yeah.
I really think it's his position to lose. He's taking it over. But, yeah, that's just me. Try to lose Harrell if you can. Otherwise, I mean, it might be hard to lose him at this point. But,
wow, Harrell's 27.
Huh?
Harrell's 27. Montrezl Harrell.
You thought he was older?
Dude, that's a rough looking 27. He's seen some stuff, man. Oh my gosh.
Oh my god.
I pegged him for 34.
No, oh my god. All right.
Okay, anyways, moving on.
Terry Rozier, he's a sell high for me. He does have COVID right now, but before that he was shooting really, really hot, and his average got all the way up to 31. So he's just having a bunch of 40-point nights, and he's just not that guy there. He's just not the second best player on the team, or best player, or best shooter. I mean, Gordon Hayward's the best shooter.
Right.
And they also have Miles Bridges and LaMelo. So it's just, he's going to cool down, his shot is, and then his fantasy relevance to come down a bit. I mean, 30 is about where he will stay, but right now he's above that and hot. Like, all his numbers are hot and high. So see if he can sell high on him. It might be a little harder with the COVID. You might have to wait till he's back from the COVID, but
okay.
Yeah, and this one's a sell high. He was a buy low before last week, but he's a sell high now. 71. He's been shooting 71% from the field.
But as a center, that can be a little more sustainable if he's just getting putbacks all the time.
It can, but it's just usually not. It's usually not like that. And I don't know if the pace is maintainable.
Is he just like, we
he's
say
like 6'11", 7 foot. Yeah. He's tall.
Is he like a 7'2" guy where you think he will get more rebounds and putbacks easier?
Oh, he's fine. No, he's tall. It's just that he was just a buy low because he was having a bad couple weeks. So it's like I think he's a streaky player. I like him a lot. And like we said, he's risen his average now to 38 because this is what he does. He has those 55-point fantasy nights. And then he just looks like a beast, and you don't want to trade him, but then he'll cool down. So
okay.
So he's kind of switched in 1 week to a sell high just based on that. See if he can get a Gobert. I don't know.
This time,
you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I'd be doing that in a second after this week he had.
Gobert might be harder, but
that would definitely.
I would trade him for New Orleans center.
Okay.
white boy. What's his name? God. Every episode I know everybody's name, and then when I'm thinking of it.
Center.
He's the number one center right now. Jonas Valanciunas.
Yeah, Valanciunas. There you
go. Thanks, Zach.
If I can found it.
Yeah. But, okay, Zion is coming back, so maybe not, but I'm just saying, like, he's the number one center. He looks really good. I mean, this might be his best year yet. And his average is right around where Jared Allen is, so something like that. I mean, maybe not Jonas since Zion is eventually coming back, but try to get a top-tier center while Jared Allen looks like super desirable.
Okay.
Because I don't know if Jared Allen will finish. He should finish top 10. He'll finish top 10 in centers. I don't know if he'll finish top 5.
Yeah, you think he'll push for top 5?
Well, right now he's 9th because he's been hot and cold, but I don't know. He could. There's a lot of good big men though. So
yeah, there is.
Try to get a higher rank center. I'm going to look at all the centers right now. Just if you want to keep center, I don't know. And who can you actually get? I would try to trade for like Sabonis too.
Nurkic, Miles Turner, Christian Wood, Clint Capella, Gobert, Jokic, Karl Anthony Towns are all ahead of him.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he could get up into the top 5, like maybe catch Clint Capella, be right behind Rudy Gobert. You know, be like number 5, 6.
I'd rank him. I think he's similar to Clint and Christian Wood.
Mm-hmm.
Try to go higher than that. Try to get Sabonis or Vukovic, because Vukovic has been a little colder, I think, lately. We talked about him as a buy low, like his shooting's down, and yeah, you can try to get Vooch for sure.
There you go.
All right, man. That's my sell highs. Do you have any other players you want to talk about for sell high?
Nope. I think that's
gotta hop into scoops here. All right, yeah, scoop them up. Break into it. Jalen Suggs. This isn't like a must grab. This is just if you have an IR spot, I wanted to put him up here. Jalen Suggs is being dropped because of his injury, and I think he's a great second half stash. So if he's been dropped, I think it's a free grab. Maybe you have to use a waiver if it's a competitive league, but grab and stash him. Desmond Bane, we talked about him last week as a must grab, but now he's... So a lot of these guys on this list they were grabs last week based on injuries that happened and whatnot, but they didn't fully break out yet. Now they're like must grab players. Desmond Bane is really stepping up for the Grizzlies. He's only 36.1% owned though, and 30.9 average in the last 7. I mean, getting a guy that's averaging 30 a night, that's a steal in any grab. So,
okay.
A lot of drama happened with the New York Knicks. They benched Kemba Walker. There's no timetable for when he'll be back in the rotation. He's not even a bench player, actually. He's not in the rotation. So, and Thibodeau named Alec Burks the starting point guard, and then Derrick Rose is the backup. So Alec Burks is a must grab. He's set up several really good games.
Yeah, I'm looking. That's surprising.
Becoming the starter.
It's been a couple years.
Yeah, so 27.4% owned, and he's the starting point guard, so he's getting a lot of minutes. Especially Thibodeau loves starters. If you earned a starting spot on his team, he wants to play you 40 minutes. That's just how it is. So that's gold for fantasy. It might not be good for the guy's knees, but it's great for fantasy.
Yeah.
So he's must grab. Derrick Rose is also like a deep league grab. He'll be the backup point guard, and he has nights where he goes off. So it's a deeper like 12 team though, or lower, or more like a 14 team league as well. Tyus Jones, I had him as like a maybe last week, but he's proven he can coexist with D'Anthony Melton in the backcourt.
Okay.
And if Tyus, he just had a really good game. If he keeps going off, he could take the starting point guard job.
Very available.
Yep. And so is D'Anthony Melton. So they're both on here, but I think D'Anthony Melton was a little more grabbed than Tyus. And then Jayshawn Tate, we talked about his 72.5 fantasy point game. He's only 27.4% owned, and he's a must grab because he's the starting small forward there, and it's just they're going to keep playing the young guys.
He's getting good minutes and everything. I mean, yeah, he's going popping off lately.
Yeah, and then I'm just going to reinforce two guys from last week that were like on our graphic. They're our first top grabs. Gaffer is Daniel Gaffer, 25.8% owned. He's a must grab. Starting center for the Washington Wizards, who is a winning team. They're the number 4 seed. Or number 5 seed. Jared Vanderbilt is still only 12.2% owned, and he just had like a huge game the other night. So
Yeah.
must grab player. I don't know how he's not more picked up, but you got to grab this guy. Dwayne Dedmon. So he's on here because he's the backup center for the Heat, and he'll be taking over for the next month and a half. He'll be the fill-in. So 26 average in the last 7. The first game he took over for Adebayo, he had like a 40-point night. So he'll have nights like that for you. He's not going to do it every night because then the next night he was like 22. But if 22 is his floor and his ceiling's around 40, I mean, that's a great grab.
Yeah, I agree.
He's going to be he's not even a streamer. He's a serviceable player for the next month to 2 months for a really good team in the Heat. So go out and get you some Dwayne Dedmon.
I'm going to do that.
Mm-hmm. And then the rest of these guys are borderline grabs, but I have them on the watch list or deep league moves. Malik Monk. He's we talked about him last week. He looks like the main shooter for the Lakers, and he's had a bunch of like 30-point fantasy nights and a couple of duds. So it's kind of on and off, but watch this guy. I mean, they need shooting to win at this point because they have a bunch of guys who can't shoot. So Pat Cunningham, he's just like the role player for the Bucks. Okay, that number's wrong, but he's just looked pretty dang good. He's at I think his floor is around 20. And for fantasy points leagues, and then his ceiling on a night is like around probably 32. But he's just the ultimate role player for them, probably behind Bobby Portis as like their next best bench player.
Yeah.
So he's just a streamable guy or watch list deep league. Jonathan Isaac, grab and stash. I actually just did this in our 12-team league.
Oh, you did? I was just about to go over and do
it. Yeah, there are... they're being very vague, let's say, with Fultz and him about when they're coming back. So to me, and that was like the end of November, they were like being very vague. So I think they're closer than they're not, than they're letting on. And I think Isaac could be back in like a month. So, and we all know what he did before the ACL, and he's had a long recovery timetable. So he should be fully healthy, and they're saying his shot looks really good or better than it was. So yeah, grab and stash guy if you have enough IL spots in your league. Royce O'Neill, he's been a streamable guy all year for the Jazz, but they're just like a really, really good team, and he's like their multi-tool. That's the word I'm looking for. He's their multi-tool player. He just looks really good coming off the bench, and I think sometimes he starts. And yeah, just a serviceable guy, so like deep league move for sure. He's never going to be a 10-team guy, but stream guy or deep league. Eric Gordon, he's heating up for the Rockets, and the Rockets backcourt, like we talked about, are pretty injured. So right now he's filling in, and he's shooting really well. So he's a streamable player. Willie Hernan-Gomez, he's the bench center for the Pelicans, and he's had a really good week. Like three out of the last 5 games have just been really stud numbers. So he's a deep league move or stream, but just keep an eye on him, especially at least add him to your watch list, because I mean, a bench center who can put up those kind of numbers with 23 minutes, if an injury ever happened, he started getting 30 minutes, because he's always been a per-minute guy. Like when he gets a lot of minutes, he does really well. So
okay,
watch him. And then Herb Jones on the same team on the Pelicans. He looks like an all-around player, good categories league guy, because he's getting steals, blocks, points. Every stat, every statistical thing you can get, Herb Jones is getting, and also the team's just doing better. So it's just a guy you could watch. Probably like a 16-team league kind of move right now, but also just add him to your watch list in smaller leagues.
Okay.
And then Zach, you have any concerns or other players you want to bring up?
Yeah, I just have a couple guys I wanted to ask your opinion on.
Okay.
So Kentavious Caldwell Pope, he's been doing kind of decent lately. Would he maybe be worth like a deep league move or like a streaming option type of guy?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, he's definitely a stream that I should have brought up. He's just a shooter. Well, so when he's hitting his shots, he's going to do pretty well for you. But yeah, he's been doing really good for the Wizards of late. And I mean, yeah, that's the best he could do is around 25 average. But
okay,
definitely a streamable guy. And just ride the hot streak.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then, is it time to start worrying about Nickeil Alexander-Walker?
Yep, it really is. So far the whole team has pretty much sucked. They're starting to pick it up in the past week a little bit. They're starting to look a little bit better. But yeah, he's been moved to the bench, I'm pretty sure, on the team. So that's super concerning for his upside. He needs to be a starter to be worthy of being on your team, honestly.
Yeah.
And yeah, I wouldn't quite drop him yet, but it's close. It's because he was moved to the bench.
Yeah.
It's kind of like you're holding out for Zion to be back, so you can just play with when Zion's back, it opens up the floor for every other player,
right?
And they all look better. So
he's the straw that stirs the drink, huh?
Yeah, and it's just Alexander Walker is probably one of the most frustrating players to have drafted so far this year.
Yeah, especially because of me, I was fully expecting a nice breakout campaign from him, so I kind of a little bit overdrafted him a couple rounds ahead of where they had him ranked. Fully expecting him to be great, so I'm because of where I drafted him, which, that's the chance you take with guys you're picking for a breakout season. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I still think that he'll put up some numbers, but it's been very rough so far, to say the least. My next one, Jaren Jackson Jr. finally breaking out. That's good to see.
Yeah, dude. I was just saying they're on a 4-game win streak without Ja Morant, but I think the breakout's here. Maybe Ja Morant takes away from his teammates more than he helps because I don't know. They're on this 4-game win streak. Both their big men look better. All their guards are looking pretty good. I'm not really. I mean, it's a small sample size, 4 games, but yeah, I think he's finally breaking out, and obviously he gets more shots without Ja Morant in. So yeah,
and then my last one, just how much better do you think DeAndre Ayton's going to be? Because he's just seeming to be a little bit frustrating to own right now.
Oh, really? I thought he was
from where you drafted him. He's just a little bit disappointing because
he's had a couple dud games, but he's been really good for the most part.
Because
you would hope, though, you would hope his points would come up on the season. You would hope he could average 20 and 12 or 13 instead of what he's averaging. He's averaging 16.5 points, 11.2 rebounds. So yeah, I think his numbers could come up, but he's still I don't know. Because
I don't know, a 35 average just still seems a little bit low for me when I'm expecting something like 40 or higher. From drafting him as early.
Basically where he was last year. It's around 35. Okay. He kind of, he needs to take another step, but when he has those dud games where he only has 15.2 fantasy points, I mean, that just kills you.
Right.
But yeah, I wouldn't be too worried. It's a great team, and he's a big part of that. So he can he'll either stay around 35, which is fine, or he'll get up to 40. He's got that potential, though. He could have a really good hot streak and get to 40. I wouldn't be too worried.
Okay.
And the only reason he's 18th ranked center is because he was out a bit. He'll be a top 10 center.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
Gotcha. Well, those are my main questions, so if there's anything else you have.
Yeah, any other players you were looking at, or?
No, those are kind of my main ones. My main player that I was looking at was Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. So. Okay.
Yeah, good and bad schedules. 2-game weeks. Atlanta Hawks, Phoenix Suns, Toronto Raptors. So don't grab any of those guys, unless you think they're rest of season breakouts, because they're not going to help you a lot this week in a weekly format. And then the only teams playing on Tuesday, Thursday for a stream are the Lakers and the Spurs. So if you're trying to get one stream or 2 games out of one grab, it's only Lakers Spurs this week. So
maybe this is a good week to maybe stream Malik Monk.
Yeah, that's a good point. Malik Monk, I would do it. Guaranteed. Probably will. All right. Yeah, thanks everyone for listening. Hopefully this was helpful, and a lot of stuff happened, so hopefully we got through it quick enough.
Thanks for the continued support, everyone. Just I'm going to keep saying it. Just make sure we go follow us on all our social media. We're working on getting all that, popping up and popping off and being entertaining for all of you. So just go to facebook.com/Garden of Sports Podcast, Instagram.com/Garden of Sports, Twitter.com/GOSPod 2021, and you can find us on all those. And the links to those are also on our YouTube page as well. And yeah, man, this was very fun.
Yeah.
We'll be back next week.
Thanks, everyone.